Hello. Let me just share this. I want to talk about authentic peace. And I want to talk about finding peace, peace within. Oh, here I am. I'll click on my own thingy and share it. Yeah, this is such a good topic. This is such a good topic. All right. All right. Okay. Hey, two awesome gentlemen right up front. Nice to see you both. All right, so let's talk about authentic peace. So I want to do a couple of different things here in this live, and it won't be super long because I have to go to my first in-person local Syracuse Mastermind group, which I'm really excited about. I want to talk about finding authentic peace, what we mean by authentic peace, the difference between authentic peace within and perhaps other things that we might be searching for or wanting to feel. And then also the retreat I have coming up called Authentic Peace, which is November 30th through December 2nd near Syracuse, New York. If you are here, it's accessible for people in the day. You don't have to stay overnight. There are 2 remaining spaces for people to stay overnight for the retreat. And then there's 5-day visitor spaces available as well. And I'll put the link below if you want to learn about the retreat. I'd love to have you. So let's talk about what do we mean by authentic peace. So many of us have a concept of peace that's attached to some sort of ideal for ourselves or ideal for the world. And we might view peace itself as something that's unmoving, as something that's almost unrealistically still. Hey, Mike, I was just saying I get to see you later. As unrealistically still. And the thing about life is that it's never still. So we might look up in the stars, in the sky at night and see the stars and think, oh, peace. We might feel that sense of vastness, that sense of calm, that sense of stillness. But in reality, in that moment in the sky, there's not stillness. It's continual movement, it's explosions, right? It's implosions. There's lots and lots, there's infinite amounts of things happening all at the same time, but we can sense a stillness in it because it is so big and happening around us. And the same thing can happen when you go out perhaps for a walk in nature, or you're by the ocean, or you're by the lake, and we find this sense of stillness even though there's continual movement. It's not actually still, it's not actually peaceful per se, because things are always going up, dying, down, moving all over the place, just like the waves are continually coming in and going out and coming in and going out, right? So we might find a peace in that, but it is not stillness in the sense that we might pressure ourselves to find within us. So when we're looking for, well, I want my mind to be still, I want my life to feel simple, I want to find a sense of stillness in my heart and a sense of contentment. We often assume we're looking for stillness, but we're not. We're looking for the stillness that exists amidst all the movement. We're looking for the stillness that is there in the fabric at the same time as there is all the movement, because life is continual movement. So we're not looking for the absence of movement. We're looking for the inclusion of movement in that sense of calm. Hopefully you're with me and you know what I'm talking about. And hopefully these examples have made you think, oh yeah, actually it feels really calm, but things are really moving even though I'm not sensing them. And that's really the key, is that the movements are happening on such a grand scale, up in the sky, down in the water, in nature all around you, but we're not attached to each individual movement. We're in the background. We've sort of zoomed out. We've zoomed out and we're getting the whole picture. And that's what we talk about in the meditative context and in the yogic context when we talk about finding inner stillness. It's the zooming out. It's the zooming out to realize that your mind is all over the place. Your emotions all over the place. Your body really all over the place. Aches, pains. Some days you feel great and energized. Some days you feel low. Some days you feel all of it within 10 minutes, right? Up and down and up and down. And that is life. Life is movement. Life is shifting. Life is changing. And you are no different than that, because the aspects of you that are life, right? The skin, the mind, the words, the thoughts, the senses, those are continually and always shifting. So finding peace is about also identifying you with something else, something other, and yet also all the parts of you that are moving. And that is why meditation helps you zoom out. It helps you take this broader view where you can see that you are all the things that are holding space for this shifting. It's constantly moving around, but you're something else too. You're the witnessing consciousness. You're the mind that observes. And then you're the mind that knows you're observing and witnessing. So you're something else too. And that mystery is what meditation points to. It's what all of the wisdom traditions point to, right? That there is something else. There is a stillness within that is also holding the movement without. So when we talk about authentic peace, what are we talking about finding? We're not talking about moving to Northern California and renting a place all by yourself so that you can have some peace and quiet. We're not talking about that kind of external imposed peace and quiet and stillness and a breakaway, because that's, again, outside of you. We don't need to go through all of that, although I moved to New Zealand, so who am I to talk? I lived on a mountain. We don't need to go through all of that to find the peace within, and I should know because I did it. What we can do is redefine what we mean here. And so authentic peace does not mean telling your mind to never think again, or calming the mind, or getting the mind to stop thinking. The mind's job is to think. The mind's job is to rationalize. The mind's job is to give you reasons and validation and all sorts of other things to help you create the life that you want to have. Like the mind is a beautiful and powerful tool. It's not meant to be quiet. It's meant to continually assess, right? That's the mind's job. So authentic peace isn't necessarily calming the mind, though it is having a better relationship with it and choosing the types of thoughts that are expansive and supportive for you. Authentic peace is not about always being happy, because, oh, hey, Terry. Authentic peace is not about always being happy, excuse me, because again, the emotions are like life, and they're continually moving, they're continually shifting. So authentic peace is about finding a relationship with our emotions that feels supportive, that feels productive, that feels expansive. Again, not about telling the emotions to always be happy. That's inauthentic, right? It's inauthentic to how we want to be. And we know when we meet those people, we're like, you can't always be happy, right? Like, you're not always happy, are you? It's just one of my reasons why I like to show up even when I'm miserable and share stories about how I've struggled, because the most important thing for me is human connection. And we can't connect if we think that one or the other of us is like on a different plane, in the sense that we're like, you can't be real, right? Like, where's the realness? They're like, let me poke you until I find something that seems real. And that's what we're talking about. So if you want to feel that authentic sense of peace, it's not going to happen by shutting down certain aspects of your experience, like sadness, like grief, like jealousy, like all the tendencies that we might not have and not be proud of. We're not going to find authenticity by perfecting ourselves into a certain way of being, right? We find authentic peace through acceptance, not through exclusion. And the other thing is with the body. So authentic peace, again, doesn't come always from those highs. Like, we have exercise highs and we can, go for a run and then feel really high and feel like the world's perfect and you're perfect. Great. That's tapping into authentic peace, but we don't want to rely on that as the only way to get there, because what we're doing is making ourselves high, right? And making yourself high is a great way to tap into something, but it's not a great way to stay there. So authentic peace is about being okay with the whole shebang of it. It's the moments where it's naturally like, duh, of course, this is amazing. I'm amazing. Life is perfect. And the moments where we feel uncomfortable in this flesh, right? And where we feel uncomfortable in the slowness of how life unfolds, or uncomfortable in the heaviness of embodiment, which, we don't always have great relationships with our bodies. Sometimes we have disease. Sometimes we have struggles on any number of levels. And I won't even go into examples because the possibilities range so large for so many of us. I don't want to exclude anybody here. But we all know that we can have examples, we can have experiences that show up in the physical nature of our lives, through the mind, through the body, through our experiences, that really challenge us to find a sense of peace, or even believe that peace is possible. And that's really key, even believe that peace is possible. Because we're too traumatized, we're too ill, we're too outside the margins of it, we're too whatever it is. Excuse me. So, great. So we've talked about what authentic peace is and what it isn't. But the key thing here is that it's possible. Authentic peace is possible because it already is. You are already currently at this very moment living in the fabric that holds all of life. And when you identify with that fabric and not with the ups and downs of life, this basic sort of principle of meditation, when you identify with the fabric and not the movements of life, then all of a sudden we find a space that holds everything. And that space is still. Great. Beautiful. Perfect thing to experience on the yoga mat, sitting on the floor cross-legged with your eyes closed. But then we get up. Then we get up. And what happens then? How do we live in a space of authentic peace? And this is where, excuse me, oh my goodness. I ate a granola bar right before this. Huh. This is where I'm super excited about the Authentic Peace Retreat, because the work of being in a space of authentic peace is experiential work, right? Just like living your purpose is experiential work. It's you doing you, exploring you, to learn about you, to grow and expand in your experience, right? In your journey to freedom, in what freedom looks like for you, for what peace looks like for you. And they might feel the same because we're all life and we're all on this sort of archetypal journey. And so I don't believe that any of us have necessarily been somewhere new before, except that all of us are somewhere new because it's never happened before in the way that it's happening now. So it's the same and it's different. So we're talking about your experience and your understanding of it, which is where words fall short. But we can point to some things. We can point to some truths. So when we're looking for authentic peace, we may be able to find it in moments on the yoga mat, walking through nature, having a beautiful moment with a loved one, witnessing children. Oh my gosh, I remember when my sister had kids and they'd like run their tiny little fingers through my hair, and I was like, you just feel that like opening of life, right? We feel this perfection of everything that is. And how do we stay there? And so there's mental pieces, there's physical pieces, there's emotional pieces to bring into play. Because even though the power and practice of meditation, the power and practice of whatever form of meditation takes for you. So that could be prayer, that could be moving meditation, that could be many, many options. More specific breath-based yogic meditation, more contemplative meditation practices that come with some of the Western religious traditions or even Zen Buddhism. Great. We can get to a place of knowing, but combining that knowing with the living is where we start to move into the authenticity piece. Because we can tap into this sense of peace. We know that it's there. We know that it's our true nature. Okay, I get it. But how do I live it in the way that I'm now in integrity and in an authentic space every day? Not authentic with you necessarily, but authentic with me. With my knowing of my true nature. Because your true nature is peace. At the same time as all of life is moving around and your mind's moving around, your thoughts are moving around, and your emotions are moving around, your body's like blah all the time, you are the fabric that's holding that. You are the stillness that witnesses that. You are the stillness within which that is all happening, or against which that is all happening. So you're both sides of the coin. And we know that, we feel that, and then we come into living it, and we attach to one. We attach to what the mind's thinking. We go all over the place with it and tell ourselves stories. We attach to what the emotions are saying, and we're like, wow, you really hurt me. I'm upset because of you. Really? Because we know the emotions go up and down regardless, and the mind is great at rationalizing, so really? Right? So when it comes to being an authentic space, it's not necessarily authentic with you, although that's a nice byproduct. It's authentic with the nature that I am, the true nature that is all of that, the spinning, the swirling, and the stillness, and the witnessing of the stillness. Isn't that really another layer? And authenticity with our own spiritual nature, right? that it's a true nature of beingness, but and understanding of my aspects and all the aspects of life and how they play out in this life, in this body, but also my authentic and true nature up and down vertically with whatever your spiritual beliefs are, whether they're just, wow, nature's awesome, or full, I believe in God. So wherever you fall in that, that's what we're talking about, is being authentically in line with, authentically in integrity with your own inner truth, your own inner truth and your own way of being. And when it comes to taking that out of the meditative space, when it comes to taking that out of that moment of awakening and recognition and knowing, like deep, deep knowing on a level that we can't explain. You might be able to explain the experience, but not why we know it, right? That knowing, when we go to take that into the world, we hit up on things. We hit up on, yeah, but. Yeah, but I'm overweight. Yeah, but I'm actually really having a trouble with this person who keeps annoying me. Yeah, but I'm not living in a space where I'm able to make the decisions that some people may be able to make because of these limitations on me. So that we start to play this game. We start to play this game about why we cannot be in a space of integrity and authentic peace in our day-to-day lives, right? And that is the work. That's not the failure. That's actually the work. So one of my favorite things about tantric yoga, and tantric meaning based in duality and experience, is that it's talking about experience. Tantric yoga doesn't say, leave your job, leave your family, come and live in the woods and meditate all day. Tantric yoga says there's going to be a ton of people, in fact, the majority of us, who are going through our day-to-day lives, and that is the path. That is the path to truth. And so all of the things that get us caught up, all that what I call drama tornadoes in our minds, in our emotions, in our bodies, in our experiences, those are not the things that are pulling us away from truth. Those are the things that are pointing us straight towards it. Straight towards it. And we open one door after another and get more and more nuanced in our understanding of how to be in that space of authentic peace within ourselves, despite everything that's going on, and actually because of everything that's going on. So when people, this used to make me laugh when people would come to yoga class and say, well, I can't practice yoga because, or they wouldn't come to class, I can't practice yoga because I'm not flexible, or I can't meditate because I can't calm my mind. I know, that's why we do it. Like, duh. We didn't show up perfect. And it's the same thing here. Like, well, I can't be at peace because I have this thing in my life. I can't be at peace because my kids are nuts. I can't be at peace because my family is, mean to me. I can't be at peace because I haven't made it yet, whatever that means. And that one trips me up all the time. These are not the reasons to not be at peace. These are the doorways to access that authentic peace even more. And that's what I'm so excited about the retreat for, and that's what I want to focus on at the retreat, is that we're bringing the knowing together with the how, the grunt work of it, right? That's why I'm not just a meditation teacher, and I don't just do coaching, and I don't just do spiritual stuff. Like, we have to do it all together. We have to do it all together, because the mind's going to throw a fit about the truth that doesn't have words. And the truth that doesn't have words is going to keep smacking you over the face until, the mind and the body get on board. Like, we've got to bring them together. We've got to bring them together. So there's a couple ways to approach this, right? There's a couple ways to approach experiencing authentic peace and finding that authentic peace within. Let me just grab my blanket. Check the time. Okay, good. So one of them is to make yourself available to the experience of being perfect in the moment. And actually, let's just talk for another second about authentic peace. Because here's what I truly mean. You are already whole. You are already perfect. This moment is perfect. This moment is whole. This moment is the full expression of your life right now. I hate that thought, by the way. There's the disconnect with authentic peace, right? The mind is like, it can't be that way because I don't have enough this. I don't have the house I want, the car I want, the money I want, the clothes I want, the trips I want, the blah, 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 blah. But the knowing says, this is the full expression of life right now. This is the fullness of my life right now. Okay. So you are whole, you are perfect, You have everything you need. This is the full expression of who you are right now in this moment. This is the perfection of your life right now in this moment. You need nothing more. You need to be nothing more. You need to have nothing more. You need to do nothing more. And yet there is the pull to be more, the pull to do more, the pull to experience more, the pull to explore more, the pull to understand more, right? So the peace lies in the knowing, but then there's the continual drawing forth and the doing. Little fly. And how do we bring those things together to maintain that knowingness of authentic peace, to be in the authentic space with the peace that's within you? So there's a couple ways to go about it. One, we can invite ourselves and invite that state of knowingness of peace by cultivating it. That's why we have meditative practices. It's why you have journaling practices. It's why you have contemplative practices. It's why you have prayer. It's why we continue to show up for the same thing over and over and over and over and over. Because the more you make yourself available, the more you have the potential to be in that space. If we are continually busy 100% of the time, then we're not available to that knowingness of peace. On the other hand, it's going to find you anyway. Right? It's going to find you anyway. Driving in the car, noticing the sun and the trees, like it's going to find you. And then there's a different way to go about it, which is through the not being in it, right? Which is what we're just saying. So there's the being in it and making ourselves available to it. And then from that space, exploring all the barriers to staying there. So we have insights of knowing, we have flashes of being, we have that moment of like true opening and expansion. And then we notice, wait, but I stopped that. What am I thinking that made me lose that? What am I feeling that made me lose that? What habits did I go back to that dropped me out of that? So we can do it that way. Find the feeling and then notice all the barriers to the feeling. We can do it the other way. Notice all the barriers to the feeling and strip them away and notice what's left. Notice what's left. I think the easiest way for most of us is to gain access to that feeling and then notice all the barriers to it. And that's what we're going to do at the Authentic Peace Retreat. We're going to be in a space of contemplation, a space of guided relaxation, a space of guided meditation and reflection. And much of that will be in silence with yourself so that you can really tune into that truth of your nature. And be guided to access it, because I know it's hard for everybody to get there, but that's my specialty. We'll get you there. And then noticing all the things that come up to kick us out of that space, to convince us that it's not safe to be there. And then we're going to explore, how do we really embody this sense of knowing? How do we embody this authentic space of being? And some of the questions I want you to think about are, excuse me, what if you are already whole? What if? And who are you if you are already whole? Who are you right now? How you normally think about yourself? And then ask yourself, who am I if I'm already whole? Does your conception of yourself have to change? Does the way you think about the experiences going on in your life right now have to change? Does the way you show up for what's going on in your life have to change? Does the way you treat and talk to yourself have to change? Who are you if you are already whole? Who are you? I really want to explore this on a deep level, because this is where the rubber meets the road. It's not that we can't find authentic peace. It is your true nature. It is the fabric underlying all of the moving of the mind, the emotions, the body, all of life, constantly spinning and spinning and spinning and moving. The authentic peace is you. It's the you that's holding the space for all that. It's like there's, I don't know how to describe it. It's like the night sky. There's stars amidst the sky, but you can only see the stars because of the vastness that's holding that space, right? You can only see the light because of the darkness. And it's the same thing here. You can see all that movement because there is a stillness within you. There is a peace and a wholeness that allows for all of that fluctuation. And both of those are you and both of those are true. So the authentic peace is authentic to you. But when it comes to living it, like we said, we attach ourselves to all the movement instead of the fabric that's holding it. So we're in a space of prioritization. We're in a space of, oh, how did I get that way? How did I do that? What thoughts are making me prioritize one way of viewing myself over another? And so this question of who are you? Who are you if you're already whole? Is so fascinating and fundamental to how we show up for ourselves on a daily basis and what we choose to view as us, me, you. And another question that I'm just looking at my notes, it's fundamental to explore, and that we're going to be exploring in the Authentic Peace Retreat is, who are you if you can both achieve and be, right? What does it look like to both achieve and be? Because remember that tension we found earlier, that the space of authentic peace is the space of wholeness. You already have everything. You already are whole. You already are the full expression of yourself. And yet there's that pull to be more, do more, experience more, grow more, learn more, be more curious, get to know better, connect more, right? That constant pull to expand and that desire to be. And the truth that beingness is where all of that arises from. So what does it look like for you in an embodied, practical way? What does it look like to both achieve and be? And I want to play with the tension between those two things because they're seemingly inherently different, right? And one of them in our minds is peace. Well, the beingness is peace. The stillness is the peace. But all of the fluctuations are part of the peace, right? Because we wouldn't know peace without the fluctuations, and we wouldn't know fluctuations without the peace. So all of the things that ask us to grow and change and move and shift and expand and blah, 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 those are inherent to the peace that seems like the stillness beyond. And so at the Authentic Peace Retreat, we're going to play with the tension in this question. What does it look like? What does it look like to achieve and be? What has to change in the way that we view ourselves and our lives? What has to change in the way that we're showing up? What has to change in how we just flat out define who we are and our own limitations and what we think the struggles of our life are, the drama tornadoes that we're dealing with? What has to change in our relationship to the experiences in our lives? And these two questions, the who are you if you're already whole, and what does it look like to both achieve and be, these two questions are going to invite us to go deeper and deeper and deeper into the livingness of authentic peace, to take it off the mat, out of the meditation space, out of the silence with closed eyes, and into a space where it's more useful to our day-to-day lives. Now, I say that with a tiny grain of salt, and I'll just put the little caveat on it, which is that when we continually make ourselves available to a space of peace through meditation, through contemplative practices, through prayer, we build a reservoir of stillness and of peace and of knowingness within ourselves that we can carry with us throughout all of our lives, right? And so we have more compassion, we have more patience, we have more tolerance, we have more understanding, we have all these things that we take from that space into our lives just by having been in that space. So I'm not belittling the space of meditation and contemplation and prayer. Fundamental in building our capacity to be in a space of peace in our own selves. And there's also skills and lessons and explorations in our mind and in our bodies and in our emotions and our emotional set points and how we feel about things and think about things that we can work through to allow ourselves to be in a more authentic state with ourselves, authentic space in our own relationship with ourselves, on our own relationship with spirit on a day-to-day basis. And that's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about in the Authentic Peace Retreat, and also right here, right now, is how can we sort of converse with and challenge some of our day-to-day ways of moving through the world that are actually taking us away from the peace that we know within and that we are within, because you just are it. You are it. It is there. It is there as much as this is here and you are there, right? As much as that feeling of I've got to sneeze, you are peace. right? As much as I'm thirsty, you are peace. It is always there. It just doesn't look like it all the time. So to bring ourselves into conversation with the ways that we hold ourselves separate from that peace, the ways we sort of put the blinders on and say, well, it's only for special occasions over here. It's only something I feel by the ocean. It's only something I feel looking at the stars. It's only something I find in meditation. Gosh, I should do all of that more. Which implies that we have to separate ourselves from our lives in order to find something that naturally is. And that's where we have the disconnect, right? But it is, and it is, and it is, and it is you, and you are it, and it is now. And we can explore how to be in this space of being with ourselves. That we feel a more authentic connection to our own self and an authentic connection to our own state of beingness, which is peace. So I hope that really brought up some fun food for thought for you today, some fun things to think about. If you do have a practice or questions around authentic peace, around the peace within, around anything that we talked about, please drop them below in the comments or to the side, wherever you're watching this. I would love to answer your specific questions on this. Takeaways: the peace is you. We might struggle to live that because of the fluctuations of life. That's the fun part. And the disconnect between those two spaces is what we're going to work on in the Authentic Peace Retreat. It's what we're going to explore and really invite ourselves to converse with. So I hope that you join us for the Authentic Peace Retreat. I hope beyond that, because that's a one moment in time, but I hope you continue this journey with authentic peace, this curiosity within yourself. I hope you spark it with us at the retreat, November 30th through December 1st, 2nd, that weekend, and that you then take it deeper. You then take it deeper and use it as the tone with which you approach your life. That authentic peace is now the starting point, not somewhere to get to. Because it is your starting point. It is the fabric of you that's holding your entire life. It's always there. It's always there, and it's a matter of perspective, priority, right? To be in alignment with it. To be in alignment with it. And then really having the courage to face all the reasons we give ourselves to not align with that state of peace and wholeness in ourselves. And that's what we're going to face at the retreat together. That's why we're going to do it in person, where we can talk, where we can have live on the spot coaching, where we can be in a group dynamic and learn from each other and have that support, because there are reasons we hold ourselves away from that knowing. And those reasons aren't serving us anymore when we know on a deep level that it's time to move into that state of peace. So if you're ready for that, like if you're ready to drop a level into peace, but drop a layer of what's holding you out of it, the reasons that you're using to keep yourself separate from an inner peace and from a knowingness of your wholeness and your perfection, and you're just beating the drum of how imperfect you are in one way or the other, then I really strongly encourage you to join us. And I look forward to talking to you soon.